Buckler works on a couple of ideas, and like I've stolen a lot of this from Mark and Felix and Eva, and a little bit from Roland and Alain. So you can push it out, which is great. Like a goalie in soccer, the further it out, the more it comes. This is really exhausting. You don't want to do it all the time. So the key thing that I had to work on when I first started is these are not two separate tools. They are a complete system. Yep. So it's not sword and buckler, it's sword and buckler. So when one is moving to like block my leg, the other one needs to already be moving to cover its skill. Yeah. So wherever one tool goes, the other one fills the empty space. So if I am throwing, my buckler's here. Throwing, my buckler's here.
I think I do a bit of that, and that when I do roll, it's always both, and then usually make it.
So if I'm wanting to be defensive, I will block my head with my buckler. If I'm not wanting to throw, this is fine. If someone is throwing on me and I don't know what's happening, this is my default response. I'm just moving it like a windscreen wiper because it leaves this open in case I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And so I just go block, 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 wherever I need to block if it's enough. Okay. They are all power positions, so from here, it's a snap. From here, it's a Molinet.
Very quickly respond.
Yeah, or it's into the leg. Or if it's here, also round the back of the head onto the outside. Now you can also still this one to dash. You can cross block here, pre-cock your hip, and then unload an offhand. Lots of fun. But they do need to work together. So if I'm blocking here, buckler covers the other gaps.
Yeah.
They work together, and you try and put your sword into a position so that when it blocks, you can throw right back, which is something else.
Yeah.
And even though your shield is slightly bigger than that, I could use similar concepts. I'd be sitting here, letting that shield cover your leg pretty much entirely, and then bring your sword forward, because from here, hard to block that.
Yeah.
From here, you just go block, 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 wherever you need to. And then you are basically covering your entire body. What questions do you have?
How heavy is that shield?
Not super heavy at
It's still for a buckler, given its size. It's still
yeah, I mean like it's aluminium, it's covered.
I'm not thinking in terms of like how much it's taking out of
sometimes not an awful lot. Like, I am just trying to get it in the way enough to take out enough. Because I might hit up any time.
Maybe. Do you think, so I'm thinking of making a comment, how much does this shape I noticed?
Not much. There are very stupid reasons why I have stop sign, which we won't explain on camera. But the main thing a buckler works on is the diameter that's the full length across the circle. Yeah. The diameter's your rough thing. Everard's got a really tiny teardrop shield that he uses as well as a buckler. Triangle would probably be about the same, except you've got a couple of quarters. But yeah.
When you first started,
yes.
How bad? Like, what were the big things you needed to learn to become that?
Big things I needed to learn with is I needed to learn to drop my buckler. So when I started in a high A-frame like this, which I'm sort of used to. Now it's more this. Okay. Because this distance is really hard to cover, and it's slow. So you have to get comfortable with going, right, buckler's here, sword needs to do its job. And then the second step up from that was learning to use them together, because originally I was just going sword, buckler, instead of sword, buckler movement.
Yeah.
Bane's like 3-tier of blocking things becomes really, really important because your defensive object is not going to be enough, so you need to put movement in there. Yeah. So then the step beyond that is once you've got your basic positions down, going, all right, so they're coming down this side, they're throwing something, I've blocked it, and I've stepped. Yeah. Because if it misses my tools, it might not have enough power. Yeah. Or going, all right, they're throwing down here, I've blocked, I've stepped, I've pushed my blocker in the way, and I'm stepping back to throw it back out. Yeah. So it becomes a much more consistent process of how you
when you're fighting, like, how much more because people like Dabs or Alain have a giant fight going on.
In an active fight, I try to think about as little as possible. As much as I don't like to be a wanker about fighting, this is where I get a little wankery. Have you seen The Mask of Zorro with Antonio Banderas?
I have not.
Okay. Brilliant film, you should go watch it. But when he is being trained by Anthony Hopkins, the old Zorro, he talks about this master's wheel, which is like slowly smaller and smaller concentric circles.
Yeah.
And when you are in that circle, nothing exists outside that circle. That's a fight for me. Like, I can tell you what happened in a fight 15 years ago. I can't tell you what happened outside this list field, like when we were fighting 15 years ago. All that matters for me is what's happening in the fight, but I'm aiming for a somewhat like Zen or blank state. Like, I have practiced enough, I know what the positions are, I know what I'm doing. I just need to let the fight brain respond to what's happening.
I think that's how I am, but I also have people say you should think about this and this and this, and it doesn't always work in the middle of a fight.
Think in practice, don't think in a fight. Where I tend to end up on that, like, yes, you can think about it because we are training, unless you go, hey, let's have a fight. In a tournament, I try not to think as much as possible.
Have you used this, or would you ever want to use this versus a polearm?
I have used it against a polearm. It's possible. Everard's got a really nice idea that I think works, where he sets up here, and what he's but specifically sword down here, and what he's waiting for is the opening thrust to catch it,
The wind swipe you got.
and then transfer onto the shield as he closes.
Okay.
It's effective.
Kind of relying on being faster than the polearm.
You don't have to be faster, you just have to be well positioned. So you don't start a fight against a polearm here. You start here.
I guess you try and set it up so you have as much time to do that thrust.
Yeah, you're watching for the thrust, and it's a matter of practice, because like Lee's very good at it. Like Lee can sit here, wait for the thrust, and like either push it this way and cover, or push it this way and cover. It's hard, for sure. Once you get in close and you start blocking like their cuts, not terrible.
We're showing cuts similar to any other.
Yeah, you've just got to be really conscious of where they are, so you've got to rely on the pressure on your tools a lot.
Okay.
And you've got to be able to read that. So as soon as you feel the pressure shift, you've got to be turning and responding. Yeah.
A little questions that came to mind. But
Yeah. Easy.
Thank you.
No worries. But yeah, fighting polearms with bucklers kind of sucks, and it's a very silly game.
Let's go back.